Huge shout out to these two gentlemen right here for joining me today. To the right of me, we got the boy, Crossovers MMA, and below him, we also got the homie, Mr. MMA Anomaly. Shout out to boy Olin. My man is here with the air horns and some of the sickest sound bar in the game. Before we get into these fights, folks, and before I start rambling to y'all, let me give an introduction to my boys and see how they're doing. Crossover, how you doing, brother? And what are your thoughts of these fights this past weekend?
I'm doing great. It's a Monday. It's a little slow coming back from the weekend, usual Monday things, but it's all good, man. Ready to get into the stream and get it going.
Bro, that is the best way to describe this Monday. Usual Monday things, and it gives you a definite good look to the week and what it's going to lead up to. But MMA Anomaly, how are you, brother? And how was your past weekend?
Brother, the weekend was fantastic. Got to spend a little bit of time doing a live stream with the boys. Shout out to S-Dogs MMA and the folks. And now I get to meet Crossover MMA in the flesh. Folks, that deserves a round of applause in itself. So no complaints here, brother. Another sunny day in sunny San Diego, and happy to be spending a little bit of it with you folks to talk about this incredible fight card. Top to bottom, fireworks, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. No sarcasm in that statement. Can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
And bro, since you went ahead and mentioned the fight card, let's go ahead and get right into it, folks. I know y'all don't want to sit here and listen to the boys talk for 7 minutes because we're about to talk for at least an hour. So while we're going to talk, let's talk about some MMA and let's get into the first fight of the night, boys, and what y'all's thoughts were. I'm going to throw this over to MMA Anomaly. Who did you have going into this, bro? And what were your thoughts over Jamie Lynn Horth getting the dub this weekend?
Well, look, this fight was not the most eventful fight in the world, not the easiest fight to judge. It was pretty back and forth. There was just 17 strikes in totality that separated these two women as far as total strikes landed. And when it comes to significant strikes, even less. It was 29-25. And shout out to the folks in the chat right now, folks. We got Sav. We got Sean Moody, Manuel Ram 2005. What a name to say out loud. And we've also got Chris Gray. His name might say gray, but man, he is sunny and yellow on the inside, folks. And we're happy to have each and every one of you here, folks. This fight, look, I'm going to the chat because, again, the fight was just not the most eventful thing in the world. I think Crossover will back me up on this one. If you would have told me that Ivana Petrovic won the fight, I would tell you, hey, yeah, probably. Each lady landed 2 takedowns here. Ivana outlanded her in total strikes. Significant strikes, there was only a 4-strike difference. But we do have to judge it on a round-by-round basis, and I did think that Jamie Lynn Horth did, even if just barely enough to win 2 out of 3 rounds there. Crossover, what'd you think, man?
Dude, I couldn't agree more. I basically had it 1-1 going into the third, and we pretty much were just going to see who wanted the most. And ultimately, in round 3 for me, Jamie Lynn Horth mixed in a little bit of the grappling, had some top control here and there, and just seemed like she had more left in the gas tank. And I think that's ultimately why she got round number 3.
And bro, I'm listening to y'all. If y'all knew, for the people watching, the amount of shit I'm having to do back here all at one time, you'd give your boy a fucking round of applause. Go ahead and hit that sound bar for me, Anomaly. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. By the way, if you're not subscribed to these two men's channels, you're fucking up before we get into these fights. Shout out Crossover MMA. Shout out MMA Anomaly. It's going to scroll by at the bottom. Follow them at all channels. But you boys are spot on with y'all's take right there. I 100% agree with y'all. Not the biggest fight to talk about. We're not going to spend more than 32 more seconds on this fight. So, folks, just stay locked in with me, and we're about to get moving on. But I was 100% with y'all. You got to love her post-fight interview. There wasn't that many. So, for the first fight of the night, not a bad way to start off the card, but also could have been better. So, let me get y'all to a better way to start off the card, folks, with an amazing fight we had after that. Boys, let me tell y'all something. Any man in this world, and I'm going to throw this over to Crossover after this, who walks out to Nickelback as they're walking out to the octagon is good with me. Anyone who walks out to Nickelback in Canada to the octagon is fucking solid in my books. And the fight was amazing. Boys, what was y'all thought on this? Well, let me start off with Crossover MMA, baby.
So with this one, it pretty much was where the fight was taking place. Like we all, as soon as Gibson got that first takedown, we already knew if he got any more in the fight, that Armfield was pretty much just done. Pretty much. Unfortunately, that's just how the fight goes. Like Gibson just pushes the pace so much. And I know I talked about that a lot in my pre-fight breakdown, but whenever they would get on the feet, Armfield would let his hands go. Well, not Armfield. What was the guy's name? I'm tripping.
Armfield.
Pull the fight
No,
back
no,
up.
Gibson.
And
Gibson.
Hilliger.
No,
Gibson.
Anheliger.
Anheliger.
My bad.
Yep.
My bad. Anheliger. He was letting his hands go, and I mean, was landing really good shots. And everybody's like, Gibson, you might want to shoot a takedown there, brother. Like you're getting tagged a bit. And I mean, he just would get a takedown and just would drown Anheliger with the control and the ground and pound. It just was too much for him. Appreciate that, Rambling Dad. I appreciate that.
Nominally, what's your thoughts, brother? Sorry, I just made a couple posts over there. I have been completely locked in listening to y'all. What were your thoughts, brother?
No, you're good. You're good, brother. I mean, same thing. I couldn't agree more with Crossover here. I think Cody Gibson did a really great job of really leading the dance from start to finish. Every time Anheliger would go out there and try and land a shot, I mean, he would start to string them together, right? He'd land a three-piece, and then, as Crossover said, our guy fucking Cody Gibson, in true Renegade fashion, would just shoot a quick double on him and just keep him there pinned on the ground. Really, really smart fight for Cody Gibson because Chad does bring a lot of tools to the table and a lot of power in his shots. You could tell that they were starting to wear on Cody a little bit, but again, he had the perfect game plan for this fight. And even if he didn't have the perfect game plan within the first 3.5 minutes, he adjusted in the best way possible. We talked about this the last time we spoke, Sterling, about, like the Adaptoids in Marvel, right? Like not the coolest villain you'll ever fucking see, but a pretty cool skill set, right? Like you beat them up, they get better. So that's exactly what we've seen from Cody the Renegade Gibson. And I, for one, can't wait to see his next fight, as always. Sterling, what surprised you about this fight, if anything?
What surprised me about this fight was how exhausting it looked and how they were managed to keep that same pace for 3 rounds, bro. That pace is exhausting, folks. If you never even just kind of mess around and wrestle with your friends, your brothers, your family, at the barbecue, wherever you're at, you know how tiring that is just going 30 seconds. These boys were high-level grappling for 15 straight minutes and also mixing in some very nice strikes. By the way, folks, there's a guy at the bottom in here called Rambling Dad Podcast. Make sure we report him, ban him. Let's get him off of this channel. We got to make sure we have less people like that in the MMA world. But back to my take. That's how I feel about that, boys. And y'all have any other thoughts on Gibson versus Anheliger?
No, sir. Let's keep it moving.
Keep it moving, boys, because there wasn't a lot of finishes, folks. If it feels like we're speeding through this shit, first of all, we're on limited time. And second of all, like my man just put out there with that noise, wasn't a lot of finishes. We didn't get a lot of interviews, and I do not blame the UFC for not giving them. But a fight that was not a finish, but was a great fight, was a great banger that I did not mind watching, was, I'm not even going to go with that first name, Armfield versus Sadi. This was a great fight, boys. These boys were out here literally scrapping. This was a dog fight. Crossover, I want to get your thoughts on the judging, who you had winning the fight. A lot of people are pissed off about Sadi winning the fight. You also saw on his face right after, so it doesn't really help his cause that he was that surprised to even get it. As my man just dropped in right there. So what was your thoughts, Crossover, and who did you have winning this fight, bro?
So going into the fight, I went with Surha City. Having watched the fight in the moment, I was very much that Garrett Armfield got robbed. But then when I rewatched the fight and I slowed it down a little bit, the swing rounds, round 2. Round 1 went to City. Round 3 went to Armfield. So pretty much, and then on the judges' scorecards, the swing round was round 2. So when I went back and really watched round 2, the first half of the round is Armfield's round. Unfortunately, City landed some really good strikes at the end of the round and even rocked Armfield at the end of the round. And judges are human. The last thing they see, typically, it may overwhelm some of the things that happened earlier in the round. So I can see how the judges would go with City, when I look at it like that. But in the moment, I definitely thought Armfield won the fight. City's face told the story once his hand got raised, and he was just pretty much like, hey, I didn't win the fight. But when you go back and look at it like that, the fight's a lot closer than what you realize.
Amelie, what were your thoughts, bro?
Now, I said it before and I'll say it again. There might be a little bit of bias in my take on this. I had Garrett Armfield on the show. I was rocking the Garrett Armfield shirt last week when I chatted with you about the fights. Look, I thought Garrett won the fight. I did go back and rewatch it. I thought on rewatch that he won the fight as well. I know the first 2 rounds were pretty close, but I thought he actually did enough to edge those rounds. And then in round 3, CD did land the bigger shots, I'll admit. But Garrett Armfield also got 3 minutes, 56 seconds of control time in that round. So, like, if you hit me 10 times more than I hit you, and maybe you hit me a little bit harder, but I controlled you for 4 minutes out of a 5-minute round, I'd still tell you that I won that fucking round, kid. So, like, and I get that it's debatable, right? We're supposed to judge on damage, but like Crossover said, CD's face told the story at the end of the fight whenever his hand was raised. And I think, with all due respect, it told the story before the fight. When one guy looked like he maybe just went to the dentist and the other guy looked like he got into a fucking fist fight. So, like, I literally showed my significant other their faces after the fight today, and she's like, oh, so who won? Because it didn't make sense, right? And then you look at him in the post-fight presser, and he straight up says, I think the judges made a mistake. So I got to agree with the guy who got twice the paycheck when he says he thinks the dudes who paid him twice made a fucking mistake. I'm hoping that Dana White will make it right and give Garrett Armfield at least like his win money, because these guys aren't getting paid a ton. And both of these guys deserve their win money for the performance they went out there and put on. The amount of scrambles they were out there just displaying, and honestly, the fact that both of them landed like around 70 significant strikes against one another, they were throwing for the fences in a 15-minute fight. Very, very fun fight. Definitely one I was not sad to go back and rewatch. But I do think the judges may have made a mistake on Saturday night.
Yeah, bro. And then if you think back to that first round with Armfield, he was almost done with that arm triangle. I mean, that was nasty, bro. That was locked in tight. The fact he even got out of that and was able to push through and give us 2 more rounds of just a grueling fight, bro. Nothing but respect, bro. You got to give that man all the applause in the world. Is there any other thoughts, boys? Thank you. Is there any other thoughts, boys, on this fight before we move on? Because like I said, we're gonna get to the fucking steaks and potatoes and veggies here in a minute, folks. We're giving you your nice apps right now. Enjoy these apps, and we're gonna get slowly into that main course. But any other words, boys, on this?
I mean, I'm curious to hear if you guys have any names on the tip of your tongue as to like who you'd like to see this young man, Sergey Speedy or Cedi, fight next.
What's one? What is it? 145, 135,
135 bantamweight.
Coin and bantamweight. It's so
bro. There's so many killers in there, bro. Chat, is there anybody in the 135 division y'all'd like to see Cedi fight? By the way, shout out everyone in the chat right now. We really appreciate y'all. Once your boy can manage everything here in a second, we're showing a little bit more love. But right now, we're going 250 right now in a Toyota. But I'm trying to think of some interesting matches for him, bro. There's just so many killers at 135. 135 stacked, bro. It's there's some like before we get like Henry Jourdain. I mean, they're not even ranked, and those two dudes are absolute killers.
They are.
I'm trying to think of some other guys, man.
So I have a name in mind. If you don't mind me throwing one in the hat.
Go ahead, go ahead, please.
So like I grew up watching WWE like the rest of most of us.
Ooh, that's not a bad one down there.
So I love a good storyline, and he just beat Garrett Armfield. Some people think it was maybe a highway robbery. Maybe you put him in there against his training mate, and I think his judge, is it Miles Chapo Johns?
Ooh,
they both fight at bantamweight. Miles Chapo Johns is sitting pretty right now on the rankings, sitting at number 27 in the bantamweight rankings as far as Tapology is concerned. I think that's a fun matchup above all else. I think Johns gives him a lot of trouble.
I think Johns has a fight coming up.
Does he?
Too. I swear, bro.
No, you're right. He's fighting fucking Garbrandt.
Oh my
That's
God.
this weekend. That's right.
What a
That's
fight.
right. This weekend.
That is this weekend.
Fight. That is
bro.
this weekend. You're right.
Mhm.
That's why his name is on my mind.
Thursday, what we doing? Thursday, tune into the prediction show, folks. Every Monday recap, Thursday predicts. But
We'll be talking about El Chapo.
hey, we will be talking about El Chapo. But boys, don't want to gloss over to that fight too much. But I can't think of any more names besides that. Than maybe Marcus McGee down here.
He's got a fight.
That's nasty.
UFC
He does have a
309.
fight,
He
though.
does have a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, UFC 309.
I literally was talking
And
to
he's
one of
got
my
a
boys saying that
monster
should be on the
fight,
main
too.
card. That should be on the main card.
Facts. I agree.
Shout
That
out
should be on
Chris
the main
Gray.
card over that Carene Silva fucking fight. Being honest with you. Thanks, Chris.
Shout out
Appreciate you,
Chris
brother.
Gray, by the way, man. Just being a real motherfucker, Chris. And Chris, you know what?
Look.
I'll even help you out and be an even realer motherfucker. I'll skip over this fight and get to some real shit. How about that for you, Chris? Since you want to subscribe, we appreciate you, brother. Now, don't get too mad at me because this isn't the fight I want to talk about, but we're getting close. We're getting close. This was two hippos in the pond in Africa fighting for their last meal. And it wasn't the greatest fight. I'll be real honest with you, boys. But also, you got to give up respect to these two big men going out there and slinging leather, son, and putting it on how the most they knew what to do. I said in an MMA Anomaly show this past week that we were going to be seeing some Brazilian favela hammers. We did not see that. We saw a
We
little
did,
bit of
but
it,
they were just on his back. They were on his
I was about
back.
to say.
We saw some Mother Russia hammers instead, brother.
bro. And I was expecting more judo from Romanov. So I want to get your thoughts, Anomaly, since we're already going ahead and talking about it. Who you had going into that fight and what your thoughts were about that whole fight, bro.
Well, man, just like I told you last week on the show whenever you and me were chatting, and it's another one that we agreed on. We were kind of hive-minding out over there, man. We both thought Romanov was going to get this one done, and he did. I thought you were right whenever you said that Rodrigo Nascimento was going to come out there and have Brazilian favela hammers, and he did.
Shout out,
But
Sean.
as I said on the show, man, I just truly feel like if Alexander Romanov is able to go out there and implement his game plan, he's going to put him on his back, tire him out, and just sap all the power out of those favela hammers. And he did just that. And then we saw it in the third round. The confidence was swelling at an all-time high. My God, this dude was giving like prime high school jock energy out there. Hands at his fucking hips. I mean, his fingertips were touching his knees half the time throughout that last round, saying, please hit me. Please hit me. And he was eating him on the chin and throwing him back. That last round was definitely, lo and behold, the most entertaining round of the fight. And I thought Alexander Romanov looked better than he ever has. We constantly talk shit about this guy and say that he does not have a gas tank to go 15 minutes. He did it. He went 15 minutes, and he looked really damn good, in my opinion, in that last round. He actually made Nascimento look like he didn't belong in the UFC, to my knowledge. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Talk me off the ledge here, Crossover. What were your thoughts?
Dude, I couldn't agree more. And I think we got to give some respect to Alexander Romanov because everybody I know was talking about this guy has no cardio. I was right there with everybody saying the same exact thing. The guy's gotten in better shape, lost a little bit of weight, and it showed, man. And you like seeing like people growing and becoming better all around. And I just got nothing but respect for him because he implemented his game plan, wrestled Nascimento, just ragdolled him, tossed him around, made him carry his weight, and ultimately made it seem like he was the guy with no gas tank, and he ended up getting his hand raised.
That's a great point, bro. Also, shout out Frankie in the chat. Shout out that boy Chris. Sadly, McDane's still in the chat, so do what you want to with that. But y'all are making great points there, bro. We do need to start putting a little bit more respect on this dude's name. And honestly, man, if you look at who he's been fighting lately, the UFC's kind of been wanting to get him out of there. They haven't been giving him favorable matchups. It's not been big name guys. They're putting him on the third, fourth fight of every card he's on. But man, this dude comes up, man, and he shows out, bro. So you can't ask any more of him for that. These are just heavyweights doing heavyweight shit, folks. That's all this is. To just sum it up, this is heavyweights doing heavyweight shit. That's about all I can say with that, folks. We're going to move on from that fight, man. We're going to get into something a little bit more interesting, I thought, right here. What was y'all's thoughts, boys, on the first finish of the night coming by submission? Submission from Yusuf Zalal, who also got performance of the night against Jack Shore. What were y'all's boys' thoughts? Let me go ahead and throw this over to MMA Anomaly. Because, man, Jack Shore is a monster, man. They've tried so hard building this dude up, man, and he just keeps getting into, like, these wars with vets. But Zalal, I thought Jack Shore was going to get this done not easily, but pretty soundly. So, shout out Zalal. He's a fucking killer. I did not see him doing this by submission. I thought it'd be by nasty KO or maybe a third-round ass beating. But, brother, what was your thoughts on him pulling this out by nasty submission?
Well, I don't think I said submission, and thanks for passing it to me, but I did say I could see him not only winning the fight, but getting it done via finish. And my reason for this was that, look, I know he's got a smeared record, right? He got those 3 losses in a row. And again, there is bias because I've met him, and I like I told you, Sterling, anybody I've ever met, it's really fucking hard to bet against, right? You want to see those kids win, and this dude has some of the nicest energy I've ever met in a human being. Just a total goofball. Like, you could just see yourself having a pint with him at a pub and just having the best fucking conversations. Now, again, what I brought up on my show last week, folks, is this. He has 3 losses in the UFC, but can we talk about those for a second, please? They're to fucking Ilia Topuria. Oh, by the way, he couldn't finish them. He had to get the decision. Okay? And then the next one is to Sung Woo Choi, who, no fucking slouch, right? No. And the one after that is to Sean Woodson. Sure, he's the most odd-shaped human being you'll ever see, but he's also a fucking perfect archetype for Muay Thai practitioner. And also, if you look at his fights, I mean, the dude has earned every bit of the nickname the Sniper. So after that, what's he done? Well, I said it on my show before. He went on a hell of a fucking run. What, a 6-7 fight win streak? Yeah, now it's 8. Okay? Because he adds Jack Shore to the hit list. And Jack Shore, again, is no easy outing, but Jack Shore moved up in weight class recently, right? He went up to featherweight. Maybe it's not the best fit for him. He doesn't seem to carry the same amount of power that he had at that lower weight class. And also, Youssef Zalal is just a sneaky guy with his length and the way that he's able to get those limbs up. He didn't even have to jump off the center line, kids. He just brought that knee up like fucking the Zohan. It was disgusting work, the way he got that thing up there, man. That's a throwback for some of you people. You might be too young to get that reference. But it was nasty work. I love seeing the timing of it. And I think it was Conor McGregor that said it best, right? Like, timing beats speed and precision beats accuracy, or whatever the fuck he said. That's what we saw on display on Saturday. Youssef Zalal is disgusting with the accuracy, and the timing was there as well. I can't wait to see what's next for the kid, and I can't wait to hear what you guys thought about it.
Crossover, what are your things? What are your thoughts, bro?
So for me, going into this fight, I actually picked Youssef Zalal by 2nd round submission. Like, I'm very high on Youssef Zalal. Like, I like him a lot. Very complete. The guy has skills everywhere. On the feet, grappling, jiu-jitsu. Like, I mean, the guy can get it done anywhere. And I think that's the name of the game. Today's day and age is like being well-rounded and being able to exploit someone else's holes wherever the fight needs to go, and you can adapt in the fight. And I like no Diddy, of course. And I just like Youssef Zalal, man. I went back and watched the Ilia Topuria fight, and the guy definitely has skills. Didn't get his hand raised in that, but you can tell being in there with a killer like Ilia and being competitive, even though it was a UD. I feel pretty good about Youssef Zalal going forward.
Yeah, bro. And honestly, like, MMA Anomaly, you made me forget, bro, how long he's been in the UFC, man. And all the killers he's been around, dude. It's hard to count this dude out, bro, but it's also, for some reason, he just doesn't stay that active. I know he takes about 2 fights a year, but, bro, to just make it in here and just in the division you're at, there's so many killers, man. And you got to be fighting 5, not maybe 5, I'm being dramatic, but 3 at least, bro, a year, and just try to rank your way up there. Is there any other thoughts, boys, on this before we move on?
Nope.
I mean, I just think you got to give him a top 15 ranked opponent after this, if not something very, very close.
Agreed.
And I'm 100, and right there what Chris said too. Sean Woodson definitely escaped Area 51. And then also what Crossover just said. Right, that dude is not a real person. That dude is not a real person, bro. And that dude's boxing is fucking nasty. Sean Woodson's got some of the best boxing in the UFC, bro.
It's disgusting.
St. Louis.
It's disgusting. And he it's not like a typical boxer's boxing. It's Thai style boxing. Like, he post with the hand and then lands from there. Like, it's nasty the way he works it in, dude. I love that shit. It's so fun to watch.
Bro, you know what was fucking fun to watch was this next fight. This fight right here was amazing, boys. Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. Let me tell y'all something. I was beyond excited for this fight. I thought this was going to be the fight of the night, but I did not think it was going to go to submission to either one of these gentlemen. And also, I don't know if you boys knew this before I throw it over to Crossover. This was Jourdain's first fight at 135. How fucking crazy is that? He looked good at 135, bro. I always thought he was huge for 145. So I can't believe how smooth he made the weight. And also, that new back tattoo? What were your thoughts over the fight, though, Crossover?
So going into the fight, I picked Charles Jourdain. I picked him by decision. I thought that Victor Henry could give him a little trouble. One of my buddies was talking about how Victor Henry is like his volume and his output is just so high, and he can end up like cruising to decisions because his output is so high. But going into it, I just like Jourdain coming down to 135. Like, I figured it would be a good weight class for him. And and to me, he looked very good at the weight class. Obviously, we know 135 is a Shark Tank. So, I mean, it's none but killers everywhere in the division. But I think he's going to have some success down at 135.
Anomaly?
Well, I mean, I definitely didn't think he's going to get it done by submission. I thought if he went out there and beat somebody like Victor La Mangosta Henry, it would probably be by knockout or by decision, as Crossover said. But I got to tell you, his guillotine is one of the best in the division, or in the UFC, because now he's multiple divisions, right? And now he can say that he actually has not one, not two, but 3 guillotines across 2 divisions. This was his 3rd guillotine in the UFC specifically, and he's had multiple outside of it, as well as a Darce inside of that was against him from Juicy J. We don't like Darce chokes. No, just kidding. Bad jokes. He does have 3 guillotines to his name, though, and not the easiest thing to get, right? Especially against somebody as tenured and as durable and as fucking just constant pressure forward heavy as Victor Henry. So really, really solid win for him. Not what I was expecting at all as far as the earliness of the fight. I thought if he got it done, I thought it was going to be way later, like round 3 finish. But great job for Charles Jourdain. This is a really, really solid win for him. Bounces him right back again. In the last show we talked, I literally said his last 2 losses were to Sean fucking Woodson, which you've heard us talking about that guy here. Not a fun fight for anybody. And John Silva, which he's from Fighting Nerds. So like that doesn't even count. Those guys are unbeatable right now. I mean, they've even got fucking Poatan putting on the glasses at this point. So great bounce back win for him. Curious to hear what your thoughts were on it, Sterling. And also, what do you think this does for his trajectory as far as what's next?
Well, it's so hard, bro. Like how many times have we already talked about bantamweight? Like, I mean, there's just so many killers in there. That's probably been said 7 times this show. But there's just murderers in there, bro. And it's hard to stand out there. I don't know why he went down to 135. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, bro. But can y'all pull up Jourdain's last 3 or 4 fights? Because I don't know why he would want to jump down. He was doing damage at 145. And I think he has a better chance of making the top 15 over there, bro, rather than being at 135 with a bunch of murderers and trying to compete with dudes.
He got KO'd against John Silva in his last fight.
Oh, bro, but John Silva, see what he did to Drew Dober? I mean, that dude's a fucking killer, bro. Exactly. John Silva in the next 2 years could be in the top 5. I mean, that dude's a fucking murderer.
And bro, with all due respect, though, his only 2 wins, or his last 2 wins that were notable in 145 were against Crone Gracie, which, I mean, that ice cream Crone melted a long time ago, kid. And Ricardo Ramos, which, like, Ricardo Ramos is a hell of a name, like, but at the same time, he's 17-6, and he's lost more than he's won in the last 6. So those aren't necessarily the most noteworthy wins. The most noteworthy win that he does have at 145 was over Groovy Lando Venado, which was a really good win for him in his career. But again, just like Crossover was saying with him losing to John Silva and Sean Woodson, like right after he got that win over Lando, he lost to Shane Burgos and Nathaniel Wood. And those losses haven't aged super well. So at the higher weight class, it just seems like when it goes to decision, he loses every time. So maybe he's able to cut this weight. And if he is able to cut the weight successfully at 135 and actually have really good nutrition, I mean, he's carrying 10 less pounds. Maybe he's able to carry it a little bit better into the distance, or carries a little bit more power so that way he can hurt these guys and then get the finish over him. Club and sub.
That's actually not a bad thought, bro. And he's so nasty with the striking. If he can make 135 like that and it's not a problem for him, I mean, why not, man? But there's just so many dudes for him to fight, man. It's going to be so hard for him to progress in such a stacked division. But a dude that I wouldn't mind to see him fight next would be this man right here. And just kind of give me your thoughts on that. We had Ariel Helwani fight this past weekend, and this man pulled off a huge victory, folks. Super cheap laugh there. That was a super cheesy joke. I'm so sorry for that, folks. But Zahabi is a fucking killer. His brother's one of the best coaches in the game. GSP, he's coached just legends. The dude's still coaching active fighters now and has one of the best gyms in Canada. Crossover, what was your thoughts on this, bro? Who did you see winning this? And just your overall thoughts of Pedro Munoz, and is it for him, bro?
So going into it, I went with Amin Zahabi going into the fight. I just think Pedro Munoz is starting to slow down. You know, the age, father time starting to get to him. He's been through so many wars, taking so much damage over his UFC career. But going forward for Zahabi, I mean, what are we really expecting from him? I mean, he's not a young guy either. And I mean, he's in the bantamweight division, so it's not like you're about to get a title fight anytime soon, because it's just so many killers you got to go through in that division. Probably give him a little bit of a jump. I don't really know. I guess we can probably like think about who he can fight next. For Pedro Munoz, for me, he doesn't look like he's washed or anything like that. He just looks a tad bit slower. Just the crispness just isn't quite there from him. And he's still very competitive. It's just he just happens to be at bantamweight where it's just so many killers. But I want to see him go out on a win whenever that happens.
Boys, we might do a giveaway today, folks. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna announce it right here. We're gonna do $30 giveaway. $30 giveaway. You gotta be liked, you gotta comment a 100 emoji, and you gotta be subscribed to S Dogs MMA Talk. Whoever can drop however many times we said the word killer today will receive $30 Cash App. First one to message to me. I'll go back, and I'm sadly going to have to count as many times as y'all are. Now that I made this shit, I just now thought about that shit. But, so let's limit the killers now. But I'm going to do that for y'all. We're going to do a $30 giveaway just for everyone being loyal to the boys. We're at 647 subscribers. We appreciate y'all, and we appreciate Crossover MMA and fucking Olin MMA not only at the bottom. These boys don't have to come over here and give us these takes that they do. These boys are over here dropping straight knowledge. Bro, the way you explained that was fucking perfect. I feel bad for Olin that he has to follow you now with having to describe that fight and what's next for him. But while he's doing that, I'm going to look up some other 135 killers for him to fight. So go ahead, Olin, and let's limit the word killers because I got to count this shit back now.
Man. I mean, it's hard to limit the word killers when I'm surrounded by them right now in the fucking live stream here. So, look, folks, I'm going to keep it as real as it gets, just like Sterling and just like the other man who did a much better job than I can, Mr. Crossover MMA himself. Look, this was an incredible fight. There were two big takeaways, all right? Zahabi looked better than ever here. This was the first fight, in my opinion, where it didn't look like he was afraid to get shot, to take those hits, right? He was willing to move forward through the fire in order to get his own. And Pedro Munoz just seemingly kept coming up short every time he would try and throw a big combo. It would fall short. And that comes to Ayman Zahabi using his range, using the footwork, and really just using distance control to every bit of his advantage here. My other takeaway, other than how great Zahabi looked, is that, Pedro Munoz still has it, right? Like, he went out there as a grown-ass man at this point in his career, this late in the game, and landed almost 100 fucking strikes against this young man. He landed 95 total strikes. Oh, by the way, 95 of them, which is 100% of them, for those of you that are bad at math maybe, were considered significant strikes. So I don't think he knows how to throw things without heat on them. Oh, and by the way, he attempted 327 strikes. So Zahabi was definitely making him miss, considering he landed less than 100 of those. But, I mean, not only was he missing strikes, he was missing takedowns. Zahabi was just a step ahead of him, seemingly everywhere the fight could go and would go. After this fight, I think Zahabi has to get somebody ranked in the top 10. It's time for him to really step into the proving grounds and see just how game he is. And if he beats somebody in the top 10, I mean, he's not that many away from a title shot, in my opinion. Pedro Munoz also should probably drop the word young from the Young Punisher nickname. I'll say it every time I talk about him.
Also, he might be getting dropped from the UFC. Is there any way, boys, y'all could pull up the UFC 135 rankings so I can just think about just tell me the 11 through 15. Because I'm trying to think in my head. I got the top 10 on mark, but none of these guys we're talking about deserve a top 10 yet. I'm trying to think in my head through 11 through 15, but there's just so many killers that it's hard.
We have Jose Aldo. We have Kyler Phillips. We have Jonathan Martinez. We have Dominic Cruz. And we have Montel Jackson.
I think
that'd be a hell of a test for him. I don't think Montel Jackson does. I think he just fought a couple months ago, right?
That'd be amazing.
I got a killer at bantamweight that's not even ranked. Saeed Nurmagomedov.
Woo!
Oh, fuck.
Woo!
That's nasty.
You
want to see Zahabi fight that guy?
Fight. That's a nasty
Dude, why not?
fight.
How is that not a phenomenal fight?
That's a phenomenal fight. That is a phenomenal fight. I just don't know if that's just because he's not ranked, right?
Right.
Who?
I mean, that's even scarier for Zahabi, bro. Like,
yeah,
bro, give me Montel Jackson's already a fucking scary fight, but at least he's got a number next to his name, bro.
True.
He's a fucking dog. Montel Jackson fucking.
Oh man, I don't know if there's enough upside for him in that fight.
There's just so many killers in the 135-pound division, bro. It's hard, man. You know how pissed off I am? I have to go back now and listen to us say killers. As I said that, I was like, this is gonna suck. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this whole pod and listen to every time we say the word killers and tack it down. But I'm here for it, baby, and I'm looking to give out $30. Boys,
someone's going to do a master cut. Killers.
See, those are 4 more right there you just added for me, Olin. But what Jax just said right there, honestly, I think is a good point. If Little Wayne can still be little, then Young Punisher can still be young. And also, shout out Young Thug. Shout out to all the youngs and the littles in the world. You know what I'm saying? I really like that Saeed fight, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that's gonna be a great fight for him. I don't know when the last time he fought was, Lala. That's actually a great point. But just so we can get off these 135-pound killers, let's get to this main card, boys. Let's get to some welterweight absolute hitters over here, boys. We had Mike Proper Malott versus Trevin, not 5-star Jones no more, Trevin Giles in this thing. What did you think about this fight crossover, and who did you have going into this, bro?
Going in, I went with Mike Malott. I thought he would use this fight as pretty much like a stepping stone of like, hey, like we all remember what happened at UFC 297, but that's behind me now. It's a new guy, and I'm trying to do bigger and better things now. Ultimately, I don't think he seized it, but I don't think it was entirely his fault. I think Trevin Giles was more so trying to stay at range and just keep it more like a sparring session and let's just score. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Malott landed way more significant strikes. He 30-27'd him, and he did what he was supposed to do. At the end of the day, as a fighter, you're supposed to win and take as little punishment as possible. And if that means like, all right, like, let me throw out some kicks, some jabs here and there, and I can cruise to a decision, that's what you're going to do. But ultimately, we need something exciting from Malott because we got to get him getting finished out of Neil Magny out of our minds.
Bro, you're nailing that. You literally nailed that. That's exactly what we need. And it's got to be an exciting fight where he can stand and bang with somebody. I'm not saying this wasn't a good victory for him, but I mean, come on, boys. We started off the fight stream with this, and I'm pretty sure we didn't even say a word about this fight. So, Olin, you were on there with us, bro. What was your thoughts on Proper Mike Malott getting the dub over Trevin Giles?
Yeah, I mean, Proper Mike Malott. This guy is he's again a really, really nice kid. I want to see him do good. We all want to wash the taste of that Neil Magny fight out of our mouths. But as crossover so eloquently said, we're going to need to see a lot from Mr. Mike Malott, and we just didn't on Saturday night. We saw just enough, right? It wasn't a lot. It was Mike Malott, but it wasn't a lot. But I will say it was a good showing for Canada, right? Like Canada was really going out there and getting it done.
Get the fuck out of here.
So it was a good showing for them. We love to see the hometown boy win, but it just. Yeah, we had the fight stream going. I think we talked more about whiskey and bourbon than we did about the actual fight, which is okay because throughout the entire duration of the fight, there was less than 100 strikes landed and the same number of significant strikes landed. So like when these guys were landing, they were landing hard. They just weren't landing often enough. So just like when you're streaming and making this content like our guy fucking S-Dogs up here in the chat, you got to be consistent and you got to do it often. And our guy, Mike Malott, I'll say it again, he wasn't doing a lot. Not enough for me anyways. I don't think he deserves a top 15 fight with a win over Trevin Giles here. Trevin Giles is someone who's had an up and down career already. So it wasn't that impressive of a win over the opponent and even less impressive of a performance over him. Sterling, what do you think of that performance from Mr. Malott?
I'll tell you what, speaking about performances, this might not be my best performance today, folks, and I'm sorry for that. But like I said, I got 27 fucking things I'm doing over here, and I'm sorry for that. But back to this fight, is there any way you boys can also, when you got time, pull up the last 10 through 15 as well for the welterweight division? Because I'd like to see this dude get a ranked fighter next, but nothing too steep, and definitely not Neil Magny again.
Got it right here. So at 10, we got Jeff Neal, 11, Wonder Boy, 12, Michael Morales, 13, MVP, 14, Vicente Luque, and 15, Neil Magny.
Bro, I like the Michael Morales fight.
I want Morales fighting up.
Yeah, really? I want Morales fighting up too. I like the Luque fight for him.
Yeah, but Luque's fighting Diaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody wants that.
True.
No, it's very true. Very true. Even when I said it, I was like, damn, he is fighting Diaz.
Like, that's not a fight that feels hot or appealing. That's a Luque warm fight at best, you know? Bad jokes all day.
Is there any, is there anybody else we have to thank for him? He doesn't deserve a Jeff Neal. So I'm trying to say, Jeff Neal would starch this dude. He would fucking starch Malott. So I'm trying to think, bro, who's somebody.
Dude, I like what somebody put in the chat. Anakin on Anakin MMA said Jake Matthews. I like that matchup.
Oh my God.
Jake Matthews.
Say my bad, boys. Let's get the boy Toron's in here. Anakin's in here. Making the walks in here. Shout out the chat. Like I said, folks, not my best performance. I'm going to fucking lock in here in a minute. I appreciate everyone being in the chat today. Also, Toron and Anakin, like my boy just said, that's a great fucking fight for Malott, bro. I like that fight.
I like that fight a lot. The other name that comes to mind for me is Nicholas Danish Dynamite Dalby.
Ooh, I like that too. I like that too.
I think that's just like a meat grinder of a fight, brother. Like, I just think both guys are at the same trajectory right now. They both really need a good, noteworthy win. And I think this would be a good test for both dudes.
I would take Dalby in that fight, though.
Well, I mean, so would I. I just said it'd be a fun fight. I didn't say I'm going for Malott in that one, brother.
Mike Mid Malott might be the best way to describe that, man. But hey, boys, what about this? What about this right here? When was the last time we heard about this man?
Ponzi scheme?
Ponzinibbio.
The Ponzi scheme himself? I don't know, dude.
What about Nico Price?
I would take either one of those fights, to be honest.
Nico Price?
I would take Malott winning over Nico Price, but I think I'd take the Ponzi scheme over Malott.
That's a good point. That if they give him against the Ponzi scheme, it shows you the UFC don't give a fuck about him. But if they give him against a guy like Nico or a guy like Dalby, I don't know, man. Dalby's a motherfucker. Let me shut up. Dalby is Dalby's the Brazilian killer. Like, Dalby's a nasty son of a bitch. Yeah, Dalby. But that's the only thing that worries me is because Malott is Canadian, he might lose to him. He typically only kills Brazilians. That's a great point, bro. That's a great point.
They sent that dude to Brazil 4 times to fight like up and coming Brazilians, and he beat every one of them. That's the funniest shit to me. He's like a meme fighter. He's like
And what
C-level
is he?
Kane.
Is he Poland? What is he?
Danish.
He's Danish. Danish Dynamite,
Yeah.
brother.
Damn, my bad.
Yeah, bro. He's a Viking, man. He's on conquest. You send him
Crossover.
enemy
My guy
territory,
Crossover's
he's ready
fucking
to go,
cultured. He
bro.
knows what's up.
He's the fucking
Facts.
Viking.
He's
Hey,
dude,
Yeah, bro.
the
He is
quickness.
the
He said
Viking,
he's Danish.
Hey, hey,
Fucking love it.
he is a Danish fucking Viking, bro.
He's dynamite.
Any more thoughts on that, boys, before we move on? And real quick, I know we're a little short on time here. Do y'all also think that's it for Trevin Giles? Do you think they give him one more?
I think Trevin Giles gets cut after this. I think we probably see the roster update within the next 3 days.
Unfortunately, I think the same thing, unfortunately.
I'm 100%.
But I think he's got a hell of a career waiting for him in like Cage Warriors or like PFL or wherever he ends up going. Because he's not a bad fighter at all. He's just at this stage in his career, it's tough to compete with these guys at 170 in the UFC.
And also, he's a cop, so it's like how much training can you really get done? And I mean, it's like you're kind of already having a career. I know you're trying to do this to get out of that. Like shout out, what's his name? Not Kyle Dawkins, Phil Dawkins. He was doing the same thing. Was a cop at Philly. He leaves, comes to the UFC, fights Derek Lewis, fights Curtis Blades, fights fucking killers, and then now my man's back at the police force. Not trying to throw shade, but I'm just saying it's hard.
Shout out to Anakin MMA for another good call out. He said Alex Morono.
Oh,
Islam
the Great White Hope. The Great White Hope, baby.
Oh, Alex Morono versus Malott.
Anakin, what the fuck are you on right now?
Oh my gosh.
This man is dropping bombs, baby. This man is dropping absolute fucking Pearl Harbor nukes right now. Boys,
I love that.
Boys, before we move on to this fight that I'm about to talk to y'all right now, because this was when it was time to wake the fuck up, folks. We got a decent fight with Mike Malott and Trevin Giles, but we got an absolute banger between the Power Bar and Dustin Stoltzfus. Nominally, let me come to you with this, bro, because we had the Power Bar and we were literally on sync with this. But shout out to Dustin Stoltzfus getting the performance of the night. And like you just said, brother, we couldn't have been more wrong.
Man, Stoltzfus made me feel like adultsfus, bro, because he went out there and just depleted Marc-Andre Berriot, or as we like to call him, the Power Bar. I mean, look, we've all made it to the boss battle with barely anything left in the Power Bar, and that's what the fuck it looked like out there on Saturday, because the way Dustin went out there and flatlined this young man was something to behold. We've seen people go out there and take 200 fucking strikes to the dome. It only took 13 for this young man to really get it done, or at least that's how many significant strikes it took. 23 in totality, but only 13 really, really strong ones. Anakin... You were the chosen one, Anakin. That's why you're out here spitting all this fucking fire, my friend. But I have the high ground. You're absolutely right, though. I do think the chin might be a little bit depleted here for Marc-Andre Berriot. The Power Bar, as we say, might be gone. And I don't know that a health potion is going to fix it. It might be time to either hang up the gloves or at least take a prolonged break so that way you can work on your health. And... I mean, these guys are not small guys, right? They're fighting at middleweight, 185 pounds.
Huge.
They're throwing fucking hammers in every sense of the word. And that's what we saw Dustin Stoltzfus do. Solid win for the young man. He improves to 16-6 in professional mixed martial arts. And you got to think he's going to have a number next to his name after he gets one more win on the record. Crossover, what you got, man?
So first off, Dustin Stoltzfus, like, I don't know, bro. It's like he hit him with a bus in his fist, bro. Because with these new gloves, like one punch is not knocking guys out and putting them out anymore. So the fact that like he was completely shut off as soon as he made contact with him, like I don't know, Marc-Andre Berriot, like he's gonna need quite a bit of time off or something, dude. Because he got hit so clean. And it was beautiful. And I was with you guys. I went with Berriot as well. And I was just like, oh my God, that was beautiful. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was amazing.
It was like watching not as dramatic as watching Max versus Ilya, but it's like you're watching this guy. You really want him to win. You want the Power Bar to do so good, bro, because he's been in the game so long, fought so many killers. But then you see a nasty knockout like that from Dustin, bro. And you can't hate, but just to admire that, bro. I mean, that was nasty, bro. That uppercut was disgusting. There was no need for follow-ups. I mean, he put him out. just like y'all are saying, either that's a retirement for the power bar or take some time off, man, and let's try to pick somebody that's not such a killer, but it's kind of hard to find in the UFC, bro, because everyone's just a murderer out there, which is not to be confused with killer. So I'm really excited to see what's next for Dustin Stoltzfus. I'm honestly with Anakin down there, who is, I guess, fucking Sean Shelby all of a sudden right now. This man's down here just spitting fuego. I would love to see Dustin Stoltzfus versus Joe Pyfer. What do you boys think about that?
Hey, if he's trying to knock people out like that, I got no problems with it. Let's make it happen.
That's a tough fight.
I want to see two
Great
heavy
fight.
hitters get in there for sure. Let's do it.
Yeah, sign me up, man. I mean, that's one where I don't know who I'd bet on, but I can tell you that the fans will probably win.
Or he could get the winner of Bo Nichols and Paul Craig.
Paul Craig?
Paul Craig. Crossover. Give me your best Paul Craig.
Dude, I can't do that, man.
I knew you weren't gonna do it. I knew it. I was like, let me just toss it up and see if we'll do it for the
I
live.
can try to let me see. Paul Craig.
Yeah, that's good.
All I got. That's all I got.
That was good.
That was good, bro.
This man a round of applause.
This man a round of
Craig in the
applause.
house. I thought it was the real thing. If I closed my eyes, I thought it was really him.
Also, give this man making the walk a shout out. That's a great point, bro. I think that's it for the power bar, bro. And like I said, I can't think of anybody else I even want to see him fight, bro, or even get on here with. So it's hard, bro, to see what's next for him. It's more easy to talk about Dustin Stoltzfus and kind of what we see next for him. We'll spend about 30 more seconds on this, boys. If there's any way y'all can think of another matchup for him in the top maybe 15 to 10, who would y'all say for him? Because I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. Maybe a Chris Curtis.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Why not
Yeah.
Shara Bullet Magomedov or Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez?
Give me
Both those guys could
RoboCop.
take a fight.
Ooh.
Give me Dustin
Both those
Stoltzfus
guys could take a
versus
fucking fight.
fucking RoboCop.
Ooh.
Let's go, kid.
Oh my god.
Yes. I love watching RoboCop fights, man. Just throw him in there with another killer and let's just go at it.
What Bates
Look,
just said
crossover.
on
If
this,
you
shout
like
out to-
MMA and you don't like watching a RoboCop fight, I'm convinced that you actually don't indeed like MMA.
Facts. You are not wrong.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, you're not wrong, Anakin. You're not wrong.
You're not wrong, brother. You're not wrong. What do you think about this?
Oh, Marc-Andre Barriot versus Armand Petrosian. I'm not mad at that. I think Armand probably does work, though, if I'm being real with you.
Same.
I think that would definitely put a nail in the coffin for Power Bar.
And it builds up Petrosky a little bit better, too.
100%.
But also, let's hear this real quick.
I'm him, guys. I'm him.
That's good. That's good.
That's pretty fucking good. That's pretty good. The Paul Craig was a little off, the Paul Craig, but that's pretty good. I'm him, guys. I'm him.
That's
Pretty
good.
good, bro. Boys, that's about all we got right there for Dustin Stoltzfus on the Power Bar. Shout out to Dustin Stoltzfus for fucking picking the night up, bro, because we needed a knockout like that. And honestly,
Facts.
I'm gonna need the sound bar for this next fight.
You already know who it is, folks.
Olin, go ahead and introduce this next fight for me, brother.
Well, folks, we had a women's flyweight bout between Ariane De Silva. I'm so used to calling her Ariane Delibsky.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
But the real person we're here to talk about here, folks, is the one and the only Jasmine.
Já se dava ter.
That's right. Just in case you didn't get that, it is Jasmine.
Já se dava ter.
And she had a problem after that fight.
My balls is hot.
And she had to let everyone know. Look, Jasmine Yazidavas is an absolute beast. But I'm not going to take the lead on this one. I feel like you've been so fucking kind and so fucking courteous, Sterling, in giving us the lead. You're going to break this one down first. Tell us how you really feel.
Bro, this was an interesting fight. Because we go from having that brutal knockout with Dustin Stoltzfus versus the Power Bar, get some life back into the card, finally got a fucking finish. Felt like that was the first interview of the night. And then we get Jasmine.
Já se dava ter.
She comes up against, and like you said, brother, hard not to call her Andre De Silva. And this is a pretty good fight, bro. If you know S-Dog and you know how S-Dog feels about women's MMA, we don't go along the best. But I'll be real honest with y'all. This wasn't a bad fight. I was a little upset that it was on the main card, especially.
I understand.
Thank you, Joe. Especially because we had. Should I get to it now? I'm gonna hold it. We'll talk about it after this fight because who I'm talking about should have been on this main card and maybe not this fight. But we had to deal with that. We had to deal with the loss of a black beast. I'll get into that. I'm saving it. I'm about to go fucking crazy. We're gonna get demonetized. We had to go from not having that on the card to this fight, which, like I said, decent little scrap. I'm ready to get crossovers thoughts on this, but it wasn't a bad fight at all, bro. And shout out Jasmine for pointing out the dub, bro. Great fight.
So going into this fight, I'm very much an Ariane Lipski before the Silva fan, and then when she got like she was definitely bae for me, but then when she got married, I was like, nah, like I'm done with her. So I definitely went with Jazz Vicious going into the fight. And I was saying, man, Jasmine Jazz is a dog. Like even if you're touching her up on the feet, like she's not gonna back away. She's gonna keep coming forward. And she's gonna get you down, and she's gonna try to maul you on the ground. It's beautiful, and she, got the submission win.
That's a great point, bro.
Absolutely, man. Look, I just think the world of Miss Jasmine, and I think that this was just proof and the nail in the coffin here. The club and sub finish in round number 3. She gets it done in impressive fashion over Ariane Lipski. I'm never gonna call her De Silva. I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's tough. Okay. And indeed.
My balls is hot.
So I'm always gonna call her Ariane Lipski. And that's just how it is, folks. But we're here to talk again about Jasmine. Because she's the one that went out there and did work. She has done work since coming to the UFC. Look, she has a loss to Natalia Silva, which Natalia Silva, I think, is the fucking truth. Okay. In many, many ways. The loss to Tracy Cortez, I'll admit, I don't think Tracy is the best fighter in the whole wide world, and definitely not in that whole division. So it hasn't aged very, very well. But everyone else put in front of her, a Miranda Maverick, Priscilla Kochaira, and now Ariane Lipski. She gets it done. This is her second Darce choke in the UFC. So absolutely impressive work from Jasmine. And I think you got to give her someone in the top 10 next. I mean, she's maybe 2 fights away from a title fight in what is not a super duper deep division, folks. I think she's just a few fights away from being in that conversation. Am I wrong here?
Nah, bro. Anytime you get a submission over a Brazilian like that, you're making moves. You're making great waves on that. I wouldn't mind seeing her fight Jillian Robertson. What do y'all think about that?
I'm not mad at that. I think it's a fun matchup.
It's fun, but I don't know if I want to see the Canada on Canada violence, though.
Come on, baby.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nah, fuck these Canadians.
I mean, think about it. Like they're both really good grapplers, and it's going to get neutralized, man. Like I want to see, I want to see Jasmine get in there and just maul somebody.
But that's when 2 grapplers neutralize, and you get Kobe versus Kamaru, and these bitches standing there and bang, brother.
Man, we might get what's the Brazilian grappler that's really old?
Damian Maia
versus we might get Damian Maia against
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva, yeah.
No, one guy that got knocked out by Jake Paul.
Ben Askren.
Ben Askren on the
throwing the most free spinning back fist you've ever seen in your entire life, my guy.
Shout out Sav in the chat.
Oh yeah, Robertson's fighting this weekend too.
I did not know that,
right.
Sav.
Shout out to Sav, letting us know, keeping us straight.
What about this? I like it.
Jessica Andrade.
I like it.
Not mad at it. I'm definitely not mad at it. I think when Karine Silva goes out there and possibly loses that fight, coming up on UFC 309, she could fight Karine Silva. I think that'd be a fun fight, matchup wise.
Fight either, bro. That's not a bad fight either. What is she in? Is she at 125?
Yeah, she's a women's flyweight. So I mean, and honestly, she could fight either one of those people in that fight. So it's Vivian Araujo versus Karine Silva. I'd like to see her fight the loser of that fight in general.
Yeah, I think that'll be some good matchmaking right there.
And they're both like between the top 10 and 15 after that fight, whenever rankings update too. So I think it's a fun test for her.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, I'm kind of right there with you now, bro. That's actually not a bad idea for her. But what we did have after this, boys, was a fight that I was hella excited for, and it did not live up to my expectations. I'm ready to see what y'all think about this fight. Moving on from the Jasmine fight to also, yeah, brother. That's exactly what this fight gives me. Man, I lost on this. I had Kaio. I'm ready to see who Crossover had over there, bro. I had Kaio going into this, bro, when I just didn't expect it to go to decision. I'll tell you that. But I didn't expect Brinson to be, that dominant on the ground as well. So what were your thoughts on this, bro, and who'd you have going into it?
So going in, I went with Brinson Hiberio. I thought we would get some more action as well. I actually picked him by second round KO. Cal was just pretty much on his bike, dude, just circling and just didn't want to mix it up and get in the pocket for whatever reason. I mean, maybe he knew something we didn't know. But the fight just definitely disappointed. Like, I think everybody was expecting a banger, but like, it was just one of those fights like, let's just get through this and let's just get to something better.
That's exactly what this was, bro. There's really no need to spend more than 2 minutes on this fight. Olin, who'd you have going into this, brother, and what'd you think about it?
Well, I mean, I definitely was with you on this one. I had Caio Machado coming in, but Brinson Hibiero, he really shocked me in this fight. I did not expect him to come in and, I guess, scare Caio the way that he did. I think Crossover said it best. Caio was on his bike the entire time. It seemed like he knew something that we didn't know. Which, I mean, again, like we're getting hit in the face here, right? So if you're not the one in the octagon getting hit in the face, they definitely know something you don't. How hard that guy hits for one. So I didn't think that he was actually doing enough to win the fight. I mean, but on rewatch, definitely. I thought maybe Brendan did do enough to win 2 out of 3 rounds. Overall, I mean, pride rules. Our guy Caio still got it done. But Brendan goes out there and gets a decision win. Not necessarily the most impressive win. I didn't necessarily become the biggest fan of him overnight via watching that. And in a very, very shallow light heavyweight top 15, I still don't think he's broken into it.
Especially because they put you on the motherfucking main card because Derek Lewis couldn't be on that bitch. That's the only fucking reason they bumped you up to the main card. And you should take that opportunity knowing you're about to get to the co-main. What you got over there, Crossover? Because I could go on a 2-minute
shout out, bro. Shout out Anakin, man.
What is he dropping?
Hiberio versus Ivan Urslan? Yes, make that happen. Make that happen.
I think you're talking about that right there. I think you're talking about that.
Bro, Anakin is cooking today, bro.
Yeah, and what the fuck are you on right now, bro?
Cooking, bro.
But honestly, I'm right here with Chris Gray. I'm still fucking pissed off about that last minute pullout. I had a feeling when he didn't show up to the ceremonial weigh-ins, he wasn't gonna fucking fight. Brendan Fitzgerald fucking lied to our faces, said the fight was still on. No worries, we're good to go. As soon as the card opens up, they drop a fucking bomb on us and let us know the only reason we're here today, he's not fighting. And honestly, the dude he was fighting against is a fucking killer. He fights Tybura in the November 16th card with John Jones and Stipe. So he fights on that. So excited to see what he does against Tybura. Because I did not want to see him fight Derek Lewis. That dude's a fucking dog. You talk about Brazilian favela hammers, that dude has them, bro. Crossover, we're just gonna spend literally fucking 20 seconds on this so we don't get depressed. Do you think Derek fights the rest of this year or no?
I think he'll get another fight, but I mean, so many people were disappointed, man. Like, this card would very much needed that presence, needed the entertainment on the main card for sure. And then especially what we got in this replacement was just a big letdown for me.
Yeah, bro, because we literally had that going into, because that fight happened, and then we're like, all right, boring, not the greatest fight. We didn't expect it to be like that. We're excited, ready to watch Aaron Blanchfield and Rose Namajunas. And boys, let me say this and let me pass over to MMA Anomaly. Yeah, brother, let me say this. Let me throw it over there to you real fast, man. It happens. It's part of the game, man. We've seen this for everyone. You can't be at the top forever. Eventually, time catches up to you, and these young contenders start figuring out the game, man. Especially when you're not training with an elite coach like Trevor Whitman anymore, and you're putting all your fucking chips into Pat Barry. And I'm not trying to talk shit about Pat Barry, but I wouldn't want him to be my fucking head coach over Trevor Whitman any fucking day. So Nominally, give me your thoughts on this, bro. Is that it for Rose? And then what do you see next for Aaron Blanchfield? And if you got to go after this, bro, I definitely understand.
Oh, good. I think I'm good to do this one and the next one. I think we're staying on a tight schedule here. Look, man.
Let's go, baby.
I don't think we have to spend a ton of time talking about this fight because there wasn't a whole lot to dissect. You had Aaron Blanchfield who came out there, and I thought she was the next person that was going to actually be a title contender. And instead, she decided to fight the first 8 to 10 minutes of this fight in the worst way possible, not utilizing her game plan against Thug Rose Namajunas, and instead playing Thug Rose's game right in front of her. Did she land the bigger strikes? Yeah. Sure. Did she look decent? I mean, no, not really. She was out there trying to strike with Thug Rose. It made her look like she came in with a terrible fight plan. So, look, man, I'd like to say that Thug Rose didn't train correctly for this fight, but, the truth of the matter is she just wasn't groomed right for this fight. And it sucks. It's, bad jokes aside.
Oh, man, look at this comment. Look at this comment. Whoever, whoa, Black Betty, that is crazy,
dude. That's fantastic. I love that. Whoa, Black Betty, bam, bam, is on the same wavelength as me right now. Cracking the Predator jokes. I mean, look, some people can train, and others just can't be groomed for this. I think Thug Rose's time is over. I think we've seen her best years, and to that, I'll do my only shot of the show and say, Thug Rose, it's been real. It's been fun. These last couple fights, though, they ain't been real fun. Great showing for the winner, though.
Opinion, bro.
So for me on this fight, man, if you watch the first 2 rounds of this fight, you'd be like, oh, Rose is just cruising to a win, touching Aaron up on the feet. And then, I don't know, Aaron Blanchfield flipped the switch and was like, yeah, I'm not about to lose. Gets that takedown in round 3. Gets the win. And then on top of it, round 4, Aaron Blanchfield was winning the striking exchanges on the feet, which was crazy to me. I didn't see that coming at all. But I don't know. I just think Rose she's a long way removed from the I am the best girl, like the fighter we all came to love. But I don't know. I think Rose's biggest thing is just from the neck up, man. Really, I think it's just where her head is in the fight game when she gets in there, and I think that's just her Achilles heel.
And that's why this comment down there makes so much sense, Jax. Like I'm saying, you don't leave a guy like Trevor Whitman who has that much knowledge and can literally is the reason you beat Wei Lee with the "I'm the best, I'm the best." That was from Trevor in the bat. I mean, this dude's a mental assassin. We've seen what he done with Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje, of course. This dude's a monster, bro. So the fact that you left that knowledge to be with a guy like Pat Barry, who fucking, what did he do his whole career? Just stand and bang with Chet Congo? I mean, come on, bro. It's hard to want to fucking leave a guy like that. She shouldn't have done that, bro. Trevor turned down Rose. We're good. Yeah, bro. So it's hard, man. It's hard for Rose. I think that's it for her, like y'all are all saying. Shout out Aaron Blanchfield. Let's speak on this real quick, boys. Move on to the main event. What do y'all see next for young Aaron Blanchfield?
I personally love the call out of Alexa Grasso. I thought that was perfect,
bro.
Couldn't have, there was not a that was absolutely perfect with the call out. Perfect.
That's how you do a call out, bro. For all these fighters watching, that's how you time it up. You know what it's happening. Nobody's out here like that's a fucking shitty call out. That shouldn't happen next. That's a great matchup next for her, bro. Both 2 young studs, and it's fresh blood into the division if she does win and gets the title shot against Valentina. Nominally, any other thoughts, brother, before we move on to the main event, baby?
I mean, biggest thought before we move on to the main event, I'll keep it brief. I just got to shout out the chat here. Chris Gray in the chat with a fucking hilarious comment here. He said, I'm glad Rose lost, though, because there was a fat, annoying chick cheering for her like crazy behind us, and the whole section was roasting her and then cheering for Aaron. Man.
Chris Gray, you're fucking on one today. Dude, you and Anakin are on one.
We love fun experiences like that. And, hey, I hope Man U does good for you this year, man. I can tell you're a big fan.
Shout out Chris Gray and Anakin, man. These boys have come in dropping nothing but heat. And also, shout out Black Betty. That's a wild-ass comment.
Whoa, Black Betty. Bam, bam.
Might have to use that. But boys, to the main event, the main course. Drop that Bruce Buffer, baby. You already know what time it is. We are here to talk about the baby assassin versus, don't know his nickname, so that's great on me. That's good podcasting. Amir Albazi. Boys, this was an absolute fucking ass beating.
It's
Not
the
a
prince.
scrap, not a war. This was an ass beating. And then how about Albazi pointing to the ground and then Brandon going, do you want your fucking ass whooped right here? Is this where you want your fucking ass whooped? That's cool. I'll go ahead and give you that. I build Legos during the day, but I'll beat your ass right now in front of everybody in Canada. Crossover. What was your thoughts on this, brother? Please tell me you had the baby face assassin. And what's next for him?
So I actually did go with Brandon Moreno by decision. So got that spot on. But I think Brandon Moreno really just came out and just made a statement to the rest of the division. Like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still the guy at the top of the division. I think he's literally one fight away from another title shot. I'm assuming they're going to have to do the Moreno-Kakar France rematch or Royval, just like Anakin said. Like, I don't know what other matchups you really can make at the top of the division at 125. Maybe somebody can get Tatsuro Taira somewhere in there, but I really don't know. It's kind of like we're just recycling guys. But that's pretty much where I'm at.
Sorry, brother. I had to pull that up. Chris Gray, you're dropping fucking Fuego today. We don't know if you got one sparked up over there. You're taking a shot, but
Guy, Tatsuro Taira.
we need that energy every live. But anyways, crossover. Back to what you were saying.
Oh no, that's all I had.
That's it. Okay. Anomaly.
I mean, I'm on the same wavelength as Crossover here today. I mean, the dude is either drinking the same Kool-Aid as me, or maybe we're just both factually correct because we're on the same fucking page here, man. If he were to fight somebody like a Tatsuro Taira,
I'm happy, thank you.
would probably be the only thing that comes to mind for me. I think we're all itching to see a comeback from that kid, and I just think it'd be a really, really fun matchup. But as far as this fight, and I know you said Amir Albazi, you don't know his nickname. It's Prince. He's Prince.
Damn, Prince.
And after you know what? I'm going to tell you right now a little blurb that's going to help you remember it for the rest of your life. Let me tell you why he's a prince. Because performances like that show you why he's not a king quite yet.
Woo! Those are parallels. Those are parallels.
You know what I'm saying? This guy went out there and he tried to do everything that he could to beat Brandon Moreno, but it just looked, for lack of better words, like he was standing in front of him to take the punishment. When he would throw a shot, his opponent would land two. So, you know, Bruce Lee said a quote somewhere to the tune of, if a man is willing to punch you and break skin, be willing to punch him and break bone. If a man is willing to punch you and break bone, be willing to punch him and injure organs. If a man is willing to punch you and injure organs, be willing to punch him and end his life. And I think that's what we saw the parallels of in this fight, right? We had one man that was out there looking to win a competition. We had another man that was looking to go out there and win a fight. Look, I know one of you guys mentioned the fact that Brandon Moreno likes to build Legos when he's not buying Funko Pops. The timing looked so goddamn good out there on Saturday. It looked like he could probably put some Lego pieces together in between stringing combos together, boys. This was just an absolute just star performance for Brandon Moreno. He should have probably walked out, so y'all must have forgot, because that's what it felt like. It felt like that kind of fucking performance. And next time you try and say that he is not top 3 worthy or not title worthy, I am definitely going to look you square in the eyes and say,
come on, don't be crazy.
Because that's exactly what the fuck you're doing at that point, folks.
And what my man said
Star-studded
at the bottom,
performance.
too.
Dude, Moreno schooled him. Thank you. I don't know how to say your
bro.
name. Is it Side or City? Either way, what a fucking headshot. My goodness, that's model-esque right there, my friend. Just
Yeah,
like
bro,
the
but he
performance
did.
of Brandon Moreno. Sterling, what were your thoughts, man?
Bro, like my man said at the bottom there, Moreno's not a teacher, but he did take this man to school. That was an absolute ass whooping. The fact that he wanted to point to the bottom and then proceed to get a fucking 8-piece combo put on him was hilarious. Brandon Moreno's that dude, man. It's insane how long this dude's been in the UFC, the amount of fucking wars he's put on for us, bro. I mean, he's just the man, dude. I've never met anyone in my life say they hate Brandon Moreno, they don't like his fights, they hope he loses. He's the man, bro. He puts on one of the best post-fight speeches you'll ever hear. Maybe not today, but one day I will be a champion. That's really all you can ask, bro. This man is truly a man anyone with their kids starting MMA should inspire to be. And honestly, boys, what's next for him? The title shot. I know we're going to see it for the 19th time, but there's just nothing else for him. I don't want to see him fight if it's not for the title, bro. He deserves it. I love Pantoja, bro, but he just deserves it, man. Nominally, give me your thoughts on this, brother, and we're close to wrapping this up. I know you got to get going soon, bro.
Yeah, man. So when it comes to this one, like I said, I'm not mad against him fighting somebody like a, Tatsuro Taira, but at the same time, he's the fucking king, right? He is the king among princes when it comes to that Amir Albazi. So maybe you give him a raw dog. I think that's another really, really fun match if you don't give, that guy the title fight. Other than that, I don't think there's any reason for him to fight anybody else. And I don't think he's a good stylistic matchup for a guy. Tatsuro Taira. So maybe if I'm him, I take 6 or 7 months off, maybe even 9. I build some Legos, and then I get a fucking title shot.
Build you a fucking UFC title full of Legos. Get the crowd in the behind scenes. Get Bruce Buffer Lego. Get a Dana White Lego. Get all of it. And I'm with Black Betty. Like I said, him pointing to the ground and then just throwing 2 jabs and proceeding to get pieced up was hilarious. Crossover. Before we get out of here, brother, any other thoughts for Brandon Moreno on you, man? And what do you think he should do next?
Man, honestly, I think it's a tough little spot at the top of 125. We got 3 guys that honestly deserve a title shot between Brandon Moreno, Kai France, and Brandon Royval. Like, something's got to happen. Yeah, exactly.
Forget about Kai bro.
I don't know what's going to happen. Probably 2 of those guys are going to end up fighting, and then the guy that doesn't fight was probably going to be the odd guy out and end up getting the title fight because he's just going to be available when the winner of Asakura Pantoja is available.
Yeah, bro. And that makes the most amount of sense, bro, for each dude, man, to be real honest with you, bro. Overall, boys, before we get out of here, let me toss it over to y'all. Give me y'all's overall thoughts on the card from first fight of the night to the end. Just kind of their overall aspects of what we saw Saturday night, any stories that stuck out to you, and super pumped for this weekend, man.
So for me, I wouldn't say this card was a barn burner by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
We kind of had to grind through it as usual. We just had UFC 308, so we were at the apex, and then we just had to come down a little bit. But we got through it, and now we get another killer fight in the main card this coming weekend, and Carlos Freitas, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Bro, that's a fucking great point too, bro. Nominally,
100%. I agree with Crossover again. We're fucking hitting the same wavelength here, folks. Look, this was by no means a fight card that I'm going to go back and put on from start to finish when highly intoxicated one night and I have nothing to watch.
Oh man,
there are so many other fight cards I can watch instead of it, and I'd rather watch an Invicta card than some of these. But I digress. I threw that one in there for you, S-Dog.
I appreciate that.
It was like a 6 out of 10, right? I've seen worse cards for sure. I've seen cards that have like 14 build fights and not one finish. So at least we got some finishes. That Youssef Zalal thing was something to wake us up, make us realize we're watching a fucking fight night. But I will say,
or Schultz. I mean Dalton. Or man, I'm fucking up.
Dustin Stoltzfus.
Yes, thank you,
my guy. I got you, brother. I'm picking down what you're, or I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You,
and I agree again with Crossover here. We got a fighting nerd fighting next week, and I mean, come on, I rep the nerds here. So I can't wait to see that. Carlos Freitas is an absolute beast. He is a fucking sniper in there, and I can't wait to break that one down too. So thanks for having me on. And Sterling, what were your thoughts on the card before we close it out?
Brother, just like y'all were saying already, I would not go back and rewatch this whole card. Decent little night of scraps. Honestly, to be real with y'all, I'm just super happy it wasn't in the Apex. I'm glad they're starting to go back out to more crowds, bro. Even for decent cards like this, just having the crowd's a different vibe, bro, and it helps out so much, man. And honestly, can't wait for this weekend, bro. We're gonna do a prediction show on it, folks, this Thursday. I appreciate everybody for being in the chat today. At one point, we were at 32 viewers in the chat. Right now, we're at 15. I appreciate y'all more than y'all know so much. Thank you. My performance today was shitty. I will be real honest with y'all.
We're not impressed with your performance.
Thank you. I wish you had the GSP soundbite for that because my performance today was low level. We'll tighten back up on Thursday. Hopefully, we'll have McDane here or Ola that can help run that other background shit. So I'm just doing one thing at a time here. But I appreciate the fuck out of these two boys for joining me today. Y'all really helped carry the load for me today. I promise I got y'all's backs on Thursday when we do this prediction show. Thank y'all for pushing through with me today, folks, and everyone in the chat. Have a great day. Have a great life. Go out, say something nice that might change your friends' lives. Thank y'all so much for being here. Crossover, tell the folks where to find you. Ola, we're going to go right after him. We're going to get you, and then we're out of here, bro.
You can find me at Crossover MMA on YouTube and then Crossover MMA 23 on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Find me, come check me out. I go live 2 times a week, put out videos. Come over, have a good time. Let me know what you think.
Olin?
And Crossover has absolutely solid content, just like my guy Sterling at S-Dogs MMA Talk. And if you want to follow me, if you're not completely annoyed with my voice, or maybe you just want to watch my face and hope it gets punched at some point in time, that's fine too. It is at MMA Anomaly on any and all platforms. That is MMANOMALY. And I hope to see a couple of you folks at my next live. We will be doing it with the one, the only Jive Turkey Nano tomorrow. He's back from Spain, back from the honeymoon here. And we'll be breaking down some fights then. So hope to see some of you there. And Sterling, I can't wait to have you back on another episode too, brother.
Thank you so much, brother. It was great to finally be on your show this past weekend too. The past Tuesday and Wednesday, this man goes live 8 p.m. Eastern. Shout out everyone in the chat again. I don't want to give another 30-second outro. Thank y'all for being here so much. We appreciate y'all. Like I said before, say something nice, do something great with your life, say something that will change your friend's life. I fucked that up. Thank y'all for being here, folks. We appreciate you. Here for that outro, baby.